Hey guys, we are back again for another Truman Lake Fishing Intel Expert Roundtable Dinner. This is the December 2021 edition, and I've got an awesome crew here tonight. Gonna introduce them here in a minute, but I want to say thank you, starting right off the bat, to Nini's Italian Steakhouse and Catering for helping take care of us on the food for these dinners. Another great dinner. You can find them in Warsaw, Missouri. If you are a member of the website and you go in and show them your membership, you get a free appetizer, so don't forget. And they do a lot of great catering as well. Also want to thank Anglers Port Marine for helping to make these videos possible. Anglers Port has your Phoenix, your Low, and your Camus boats, bass boats, deck boats, you name it, located conveniently between Clinton and Warsaw, Missouri. Be sure to check them out. A lot of awards that they've won in the last year. So great company to look at for your next boat. And by the way, the way lead times are on boats, it's 3-4 months right now. So if you're looking at getting a new boat for next year, you better go ahead and start the process now, because you'll be getting it just in time for fishing to really get good on the spawn. With that, let's go ahead and introduce everybody. You guys have seen, I think, everybody here except Kyler Beckman to my right, who has been doing fishing reports here for the last couple months, but he hadn't been on a guide dinner yet. Kyler Beckman's guide service focuses on crappie pretty much most of the time.
Mainly crappie, some white bass strips.
Yeah. So he's hammering them right now, just like everybody is. Of course, to my left, I got Hunter Bowling, who is a little subsidiary of Richard Bowling's guide service.
Dad's little squirt.
That's right. That's right.
Something all right.
Jeff Falkenberry, endless season guide service, catfishing, crappie fishing, whatever kind of fishing.
Duck smashing.
I was going to say duck smashing extraordinaire right now. Oh, actually, today and tomorrow, not so much, because it's 70 degrees in the middle of December. Richard Bowling, Richard Bowling's guide service, crappie extravaganza. Dylan Stocking, Get Outdoors guide service. And Cody Van Atten, who you've seen here before. You've seen his fishing reports. He's on the lower end of the lake. Cody's Bait and Tackle right there in Warsaw. A lot of great selection down there on rods, reels, tackle, fishing lures, live bait, you name it. He's got it in down there. So awesome local shop that's got a little bit, I shouldn't say just a little bit, a lot better selection than your big box stores down there. So definitely be sure to stop in and see him. Cody's catfishing, hybrid fishing, occasionally crappie fishing for fun.
Yeah.
He knows how to go hammer on them whenever he wants to. So we're excited to have him here with us.
Spoonbill.
Yeah, Spoonbill, which by the way, you're pretty much, are you booked?
Pretty well booked up on Spoonbill this year.
Yeah.
I've got a few dates left in April, but not a whole lot. So.
Okay, gotcha. Before we dive into it, a couple of announcements. First announcement is the winner from, if you guys follow along on the Facebook page here, we did a giveaway last month. If you shared the video and then also commented 3 people on the Truman Lake Fishing Intel post, we're going to draw somebody for a free 1-year membership. That winner is Gary Keesley. He commented, quite a few people went above and beyond, so he is the winner. We are, and Gary, I'll be in touch with you. So if you're watching this, just be ready for a message on Facebook. We're going to do the same exact thing on this video. So if you are watching this video right now, we're going to do a giveaway for a 1-year Pro Plus membership, which gives you all access to the fishing reports, the exclusive videos with all of these experts for a full year. All you have to do to enter, share this video, share it on your profile. Once you've done that, come back to the Truman Lake Fishing Intel page and comment 3 people in the comments of this post. And you're going to get entered for a 1-year membership. So good luck. And with that,
We'll do that 1-year membership for next year, since this year's only got like 2
yeah.
years.
Well, it basically, yeah.
You get it for 2 weeks.
Yeah, that's right. And I actually have had that question, so it's an interesting point that we're bringing this up. I have had the question of, if you buy it at some point during the year, does it end at the end of the calendar year? No. It goes all the way. If you buy it on October 21st, It'll go all the way to October 21st of the next year. So that is a question that I have gotten, and good question.
Question answered.
There you go. With that, let's talk some fishing. I don't know who I want to start with here, but maybe Kyler to my right, since he's the first timer here on the video.
Well, crappie fishing is on fire. Like, it's extremely good. A lot of big fish are getting caught. And what I've been using on my boat, which I'm sure you're going to hear a lot of other things that all these other guys are using too, but what's been working good for me is just shad patterns, anything from a 2-inch bait. I've been using Crappie Monster baby small fry, I think is what theirs are called, and just a gray and black back. They call it Ozark Smoke, and I've been using those, and I've been using baits all up to 4 inches long.
Really?
To catch crappie on.
Those 4 inches, I mean, do they have a big old curly tail on them? Or?
No, it's a big old tube bait. I don't even know who makes them. I'm sorry, but I've just got a big bag of them in there. And it's just a big, kind of a grayish looking bait. If you guys caught any crappie lately, if you fillet them open, you'll notice that they're full of 3 and 4 inch shad. So I'm a big proponent of always matching the hatch, and that's what's working good for me.
Awesome. Well, I want you to, and some of you may have seen some videos I've done with Kyler here in the last couple months. But for those who haven't, Kyler, why don't you kind of give a quick background of your fishing experience on Truman, how you came to be a fishing guide, and some of your tournament experience.
I've been fishing Lake of the Ozarks is my home lake, and I've been fishing it since I was in diapers. And then I started tournament fishing when I was a young kid with my dad. And we started fishing Truman. We usually got our butts beat over here. And so that was kind of a goal of mine, was to get good on Truman Lake. And in 2018, got 3rd place in the national championship. And from that point on, I fell in love with Truman. And it's a great crappie fishery. It's just full of fish. But now I've had some really good seasons fishing tournaments, and I really love fishing tournaments. And I worked on the oil field for about 11 years. And then last election year, things kind of fell through, and I thought, better time than ever to try full time, because I was guiding part time before then, because I'd work 3 weeks on, 3 weeks off. And 3 weeks I was off, I'd pick up a trip here and there, just because I fished pretty much every day anyways. I thought, might as well try to cover some of my expenses.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
I love it. I love guiding. I mean, it's the perfect job for me. I mean, I truly love it.
Right. That's freaking awesome. And there's a pretty cool video of Kyler and I on the website where it's just 20 minutes unedited, just straight up exactly as it happens. No cutting it down for a short and sweet video. It's literally 20 minutes long. I think you and I both broke off in the process of that video. And
watched it.
And caught some fish. And we caught some fish. It was kind of funny because we were sitting there and kind of getting into them. And then, of course, when we started recording, it was kind of a struggle, and the first fish we actually boated was like 6 minutes into the video, and it was white bass. So we were sitting there trying to shoot a crappie.
That's how it goes.
Yeah, that's how it goes. So definitely cool. We're super excited to have Kyler around, and you'll get to learn live scope if you go out with him. And you don't use minnows for very long out of the year.
No, only when I really have to. Last year I used them for about 2.5 weeks. And that was, I think, in June or July. I can't remember when that was. I was using those, but besides then, I haven't used minnows all year. But I just don't like messing with them pretty much.
Yeah.
I don't like touching them, don't like fooling with them.
Yeah.
And I've got more confidence in artificials than I do minnows. But that's just my personal preference.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, summertime's a great time for minnows, but if you can make it happen with jigs, save you some money from buying all the minnows. But minnows, Richard, you've used minnows a little bit recently, haven't you?
Every day.
Okay. All right, so
Yep. I used minnows the other day
okay.
up there on the main lake too.
So they're eating the minnows just as good now.
Yeah.
About as fast as you can draw them.
Really?
You catch a lot of fish per minnow this time of year because they're not as they don't shake them off as much. A dead minnow will catch as many fish as a live minnow.
Really?
Yep.
Really. So
I don't use them.
I don't know how to use them. Okay, So Richard, you were telling me something interesting here the other day about, I mean, we're sitting here, it's mid-December, and we're talking almost 70-degree weather, it's windier than heck. You said you kind of almost went to a summer pattern type of deal, in a way.
My last 2 trips I've been on summertime tree rows. Went up to Grand just a little ways. The water's 7 to 12 foot of water, and fish are down 3 to 8 feet. It's true summertime stuff where we catch them, and it was a good place out of the wind, and I pulled in, and there wasn't a ton of fish, but there's enough fish there that everybody in the boat, including me, got to catch limited fish both times. So, it's just a bunch of tree rows that crisscross, and every tree had a fish stuck to it.
Yeah.
At least one.
And to, I guess, kind of explain to everyone who's watching, who maybe is picking up for the first time, and you say summertime pattern, what is the traditional summertime pattern?
Just a big flat on the lake, the opposite side of a bluff, and not going into a creek, just the main lake flat. Get up by the bank. The best way to do it, what I like to do, it depends on the wind, but I kind of side scan going up them tree rows, and you'll see that when you get in about 7-8 foot of water, that's where you kind of run out of the fish, maybe 6 feet. Then I spin around and I go right out that tree row, and then I'll jump to the next one. And I fished that spot 2 days, and it went from the first day was good, the second day was just as good, but bigger fish, more fish moved in, so there's still a bunch of fish out there.
You've still been in the creeks mostly, haven't you?
Yep, I've spent most of my time in the creeks. From what I've seen, about any creek on the Grand Arm is holding fish, and plenty of them. And I just base pretty much what creek I'm going to fish depending on which direction the wind's going to blow. If it's blowing extremely hard out of the south, I'm going to find some protected areas, on the south-facing side of the lake. Some big bluffy creeks. You can get in there and spend all day, and it's like fishing on calm days.
Yeah.
You can find fish, like I said, pretty much any creek right now.
T-bows the same way. Big T-bows the same way.
Yeah.
All the creeks are loaded up with crappie.
Yeah.
So.
Are you noticing it? So that's probably where you went and you've kind of found some the other day. Did you notice having to work through some smaller ones?
There's a lot of short fish on T-bow.
Yeah. Okay.
You catch about 3 short fish to every one keeper.
Okay.
But everybody down there has been catching limits, so I mean, and they same thing as Richard said. There's guys I've watched go all the way to the very back of the pocket, catch them in 6, 7, 8 foot of water, and then we're still catching fish out on the bluffs too. I caught mine in 18 to 25 foot of water. Right, drop it down the bottom, raise it up about half a crank, wiggle it a little bit, and you got a fish.
Yep.
And you're literally you're not putting it on a tree.
No,
You're
just right on. I caught one on naked bluffs.
Yeah. Now, are there shad present that you're fishing around?
There's shad all over the main lake.
Okay.
There's everywhere I've been on the lake. There's shad right now.
Yeah.
So.
And where you were catching crappie, was there a heavy presence of shad there as well?
Yeah.
So that was probably key to just dropping the bait.
You find your bait on the main lake right now, and there's crappie.
Yeah.
Any of them bluffs, whether they got brush, and the brush piles on the main lake right now are holding a ton of fish too.
Yeah.
Some of the guys down there that's got their own brush piles, they're just going fishing one brush pile and catching their limit off of it. And leaving. So.
Have you heard any reports out of the shop, anything below the dam going on?
Yeah, actually, they've been catching some crappie down there, some catfish. The last 3 weeks, there's been quite a few walleye coming out.
Really?
The upper Osage on Lake of the Ozarks is really good right now.
Yeah.
For crappie fishing.
Yeah.
In any of the creeks, the same
But
deal.
all Ozarks is good for crappie right now, And the docks are,
Yeah.
Yep.
you can put in there below the dam, run down the river a little ways, and side scan underneath some of them docks, and some of them docks just
Loaded.
you hit one dock, you can catch a limit of crappie
Yeah.
off of it right now. They're just loaded under the docks.
Huh. And what about this time of year? I mean, are they loaded under the docks all year long, or is there something about this time of
Usually
year?
by now they're starting to go to the creeks more so and scattering out with the bait, but just because of warm weather and stuff, they ain't doing it yet.
Yeah.
So
You can always catch them on docks on Lake of the
Yeah.
Ozarks.
Yeah.
12 months out of the year.
Yeah.
There's docks that hold fish all year down there.
What do you? So you mentioned it's been really warm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been almost 70 degrees and windy as hell. What water temperature you've been seeing all over? You've been all over the lake.
I have been all over the place. I've had anywhere from 46 to 51.
Mm.
Depends. If you're fishing shallower, Might be cooler over more and warm up faster during the day. Main lake's staying right around 47, 48 right now. It's just kind of hovering right
Yeah.
there, but you get up in some of them shallows that are warming up faster during the daytime, so.
Is water temperature dictating any decision making right now on how you're fishing or what you're doing? Will it, as the winter progresses here through January?
No.
Not me.
Seems like when it gets down around that 50 mark, right there, you got a pretty good variation
Yeah.
either way.
Mm-hmm.
And in the fall, when you're transitioning from that summer pattern into fall and the water temperature starts to fall, you're always looking for it to hit 50.
Mm-hmm.
And you want to get down to chase those fish at 50-degree water temperature. And then you get this time of year and it's just holding around there and it's really good fishing. And then, it'll get down that 44, 43. It's going to get cold. I mean, it's bound to.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to get down there. And then come February and March, we're always looking for it to get back up to 50,
Mm-hmm.
And so you're always chasing that 50 mark because right around 50 degrees is a huge variation of where nothing's going to change.
Mhm.
It can go up 5, it can go down 5.
Yeah.
Once you get to 65 degrees, if it bumps up to 70, it can change things drastically. If it drops down to 60, it can change things
Yeah.
drastically.
It seems like as that water temperature starts to warm up, if it drops back down, it'll mess them up. And as the water temperature is dropping, if it warms back up, it'll change the bite too. As long as it's staying fairly steady on what it's doing, it'll stay pretty consistent.
Should be a decent
So-
bite.
Yep.
How would you rate the overall? We can talk catfish here more in depth, but overall bite with what you've been doing with catfish and the crappie down in your lower end. Good, bad. What has it been?
It is really good.
Okay.
I would say the crappie fishing on the lower lake right now is the best I've seen it in several years.
Okay.
So overall, everybody that comes in the shop's catching fish, and that don't normally happen.
Yeah.
Usually about half of them catch fish and half of them don't, but
Yeah.
they're all catching fish right
Even
now.
though you know it's good. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's funny. And obviously, Richard, Kyler, Dylan, you guys are slaying fish up here. Would you consider it? Because on the website we talk about poor, fair, good, or excellent. It sounds like it's probably excellent, or at least borderline
I would
excellent.
say good.
Okay.
Very, very good.
Okay.
The only reason it's not, I wouldn't say it was excellent around the Bucksaw area is just because those fish, they're not piled up yet.
Okay.
Yeah, the water
But if you
temperature
drop
ain't
on-
dropped enough yet to
You
really
drop
school
on a
them
fish
tight.
and you can catch
Okay.
them.
Catfish are the same way. I've got to do quite a bit of moving with the catfish,
Yeah.
but
So what water temperature, or what's it going to take to get them to school up? Because they will school up.
When the shads school up,
Yeah.
when
Okay.
the shads, all them shads start pushing in the mouths of them creeks and them creeks.
Okay.
I don't know about on the upper lake, but on the lower lake, there's been a few days when they have actually schooled up together and the fish schooled up.
Mm.
But then you get on the cold fronts, they'll kind of school up more, and then you get a warm front in.
Right.
And that first day that warm front hits, the bait's scattered everywhere and the fish are scattered
Yeah.
everywhere. And them days you're going to have to do some looking.
Yeah.
So
Are the shads, so speaking of the shags, I know we were talking about this during dinner, they're scattered everywhere, but sometimes they're can you see them at the surface right now at all? You can actually see them flipping.
Yeah,
every
the
now and
other,
then.
the other morning when it was cold, it was like down 29 degrees or something like that, and they were on top just going
Floating all
crazy.
over the place.
Yeah. And a lot of the schools are the 3 to 4 inchers, but there are some big schools
Yeah,
around.
there's some big ones.
Are the big ones, is there a rhyme or reason? Because I think you guys, you said you've been doing better on the smaller shad recently.
Yeah. Right now I'm using mainly smaller shad.
Mm-hmm.
Last week I used big shad and small shad. I switched arms of the lake this week, and so far I've just been catching small shad there. I ain't been wasting the time
Yeah.
to find the big ones. So
Yeah.
that's what I'm using.
Is there a rhyme or reason to finding big shad versus small shad? Or is it just kind of luck of the draw, which ones happen to be in a pocket?
Yeah,
Or
they're moving around constantly right now. The water's not warm enough to make them stay anywhere from what I've seen on the main lake. So
Yeah, same thing.
Same way up there.
I mean, they're in them. You can see them big shad in them creeks, but they're just.
yeah.
I mean,
And
they're
things
just
are everywhere.
moving.
Yeah.
They're moving.
Yeah,
You throw that-
they're cruising.
You can
nuts.
put your trolling motor down at the boat ramp and start driving around and see shad.
Yeah.
I don't care
They're
where you
everywhere.
put in,
Yeah.
what ramp you're at.
They're everywhere.
And it's They're big wads of shad.
If someone's gonna go throw a net for them, what size net do you recommend? An 8-footer?
Depends on if you can throw a net.
Yeah,
Well,
what
a
can you
3-footer.
handle?
Yeah.
No, not a 3
I throw a
foot.
6-foot.
So say someone wants to get into catfishing, they want to get some of the power catfish or the Edgar
Start
Ross.
out with a 5-foot net.
5 or 6.
Five foot to start with.
Okay.
Work your way up.
Okay.
So
All right. And so that's the question. It's 5-footer. That's
Yeah.
To start with.
To learn with. Yeah.
Okay.
Start off small.
Then get you an 8-footer.
Yeah.
Yeah, them getting it.
Today I started with an 8-footer and
Went
turned
to-
it into a 2-footer. Put it down and go to a 4-footer.
Oh. Okay. Yeah. So Richard, you did some catfishing today. How was it?
It's very good.
Oh.
It was good. Never. I fished a Grand Arm and I never left side of the boat ramp I put in at, and we had 3 overs and 20-some keeper fish and 5 slots.
Wow. That is a hell of a day.
It's a good day.
The last spot that we stopped on, I was side scanning. What was happening? I spooked them fish. I wasn't using trolling motor. It's the windy, so I'd see a big ball of fish and I'd anchor down on them and, bite or two and nothing. So I got to where I would let the boat drift down. With the wind, then I hit that trolling motor or the power poles and down the bud. The last spot I fished, the water was 5.5 feet. I stuck them in the mud and they held, and I fan casted them poles and it was game on.
Mm.
I did not spook that school of fishing. We sit there and caught 10, 11 fish real quick. One of them was a 40-incher.
So you just said something kind of interesting. You kind of drifted into your spot. You didn't spook the school of fish.
Correct.
These fish are spooky. Like
The water's only 5 foot.
He's chasing open water fish.
Okay.
No structure.
so.
No
shallow fish are always going to be spooky.
Okay. And I mean, it's just a matter. Is it something where it's like the engine or the trolling motor that spooks them mostly, or is it sometimes like the crappie where you described dropping the lid?
Oh yeah.
It can be that. It can be that dramatic.
Oh, absolutely.
Dropping letting a sinker ping off the side of the boat.
Ooh.
I always tell people if I'm fishing a shallow water bite, if you let that sinker hit the side of the boat, we got to move.
Yeah.
And that's what a lot of people don't realize.
It
Wow.
makes a lot of noise, and I tell you, Tommy Scarless won the Crappie Masters National Championship in Grenada, Mississippi. I think he fished maybe 3 crappie tournaments ever,
Yeah.
and goes down to Grenada, and they're pulling. Tommy's he's gone now, just fantastic fisherman, Hall of Famer walleye guy from up north. But anyhow, planer boards and crankbaits was just starting to get in the crappie game. And Tommy was good at it because he fished the PWT and the NWT. And so they go to Grenada, Mississippi in the national championship, and what they'd figured out was how far the big crappie, was spooking from the boat. And then they would set their planer boards running crankbaits to where that fish was pushing out to, and that's how they won that tournament.
Wow.
They were intentionally spooking them fish
Yeah.
out to the outsides to catch one of them crankbaits.
Friggin' A. That's crazy.
Well,
Well, and so they're literally they're spooking them 1 second, and then like a second or two later, as they're coming through, they're actually the fish has calmed down that quick.
basically running them to the bait.
Yeah. Huh. So when the catfish spooks,
We pull planer boards for catfish.
okay.
Oh yeah.
Well, Cody, you've done that. I think.
Oh, yeah.
I saw you posting about that.
Yeah,
this
I
year.
don't like to, but when it gets real hot during the summertime,
Yeah.
you pretty much have to.
Yeah.
It works.
And it's the same concept because there's that.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
they're spooking away from the boat.
Yeah.
Away from the boat.
You can see them. You get up there in some of that 2, 3, 4 foot of water
You can see
up there on their end of the lake.
Yeah.
You can see them taking off as you're trolling through there.
And the other thing is suspended fish.
Yeah.
With planer boards in the summertime.
Yeah.
That's the best way to target suspended fish.
Okay. Well, at some point, I guess whoever is doing planet boards will have to shoot a video because I'm sure no one has seen.
It's fun.
That's not a thing I've
Work.
seen or heard a lot about.
There's
so.
a YouTube video that I did with Tommy Scarless pulling
Oh.
planer boards for catfish. We
Okay.
pull planer boards and tadpoles.
Okay.
That's
Interesting. So the shallow bite for catfish sounds like it's been good recently. I assume probably here as we're talking, as we're looking forward through December into January as we get ready to do our next one in January, guide dinner video. That shallow bite you expect to stay pretty good,
Get better.
get
When the
better.
water cools off. Yeah.
It's just all going to depend on where you're fishing.
Okay.
That's
Because
exactly it.
I fished last
Lower
week.
lake.
I know
Upper
where he's
end of the
fishing.
lake, they'll be
Shallow.
shallow. On the deep end of the lake, they're going to be deep.
Okay.
I caught all my fish deep
Yeah.
that I've been catching in last week or whatever it was.
Mhm.
All my fish were deep, but I was in clear water.
Right.
Catch them out of the channel. Shallow water fishing is my name of my game.
Mhm.
But-
All three of the big fish today, we seen them before the pole.
Yeah.
Right over. Just a big old boil and the tail comes out of the water.
Really?
Game on, yeah.
That's
Wow.
the best.
All
Even
three
in
of them.
5 feet of water.
Even
Oh.
in 5 foot water, yeah.
Did you run a Santee Cooper rig so you float?
Oh
baits?
yeah, because they're up off the bottom.
That would be fun.
But like we were in 12 to 18 feet of water on the top of a channel edge. It dropped off to 26 feet of water.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And you can't when you throw the rods out, you're constantly getting a bite. There's so many fish in those ditches. When you throw them out, they hit the bottom. They're constantly just doing this, getting bit. But then you just have to wait for the fish big enough to lay one down. And it may be 3 pounds and it may be 33
Yeah.
pounds. You don't know. We caught overs, we caught slots, we caught unders, but it's just so thick with fish in there.
Yeah.
And that was on the Tebow side.
Yeah. So same question on the catfish bite here recently. What you think it's gonna be? Fair,
It
good,
should.
excellent.
It's gonna get better.
Yeah.
It's good right now, but it's gonna get better.
Yeah. Well, and I haven't checked the forecast for at least this week, but it's gonna drop. I think Thursday or Friday at least, down to 40 or 50 in the
It's
highs.
still not cold.
Yeah. Yeah.
I haven't seen nothing on the ways out for cold weather.
Yeah.
either.
Of course, I'm duck hunting now,
Forecast
so I'm
showing
like,
upper
golly.
40s and 50s. every
Yeah.
day.
Cody, you fish a lot of deep water for catfish.
Yeah.
What's kind of the rhyme or reason on how you? I mean, I know you're graphing a lot, but what have you noticed as far as when you do find them this time of year and they're in deep water? I mean, is it on a deep channel ledge? I mean, is it?
They're just kind of scattered. There's schools of fish absolutely scattered all over the lake right now.
Yeah.
And you might have to set up on 2 or 3 different schools before you find one that's feeding.
Mm-hmm.
But once you find them, you can sit there and catch them. You know, some days you might catch them for 30 minutes real good.
Mm-hmm.
Some days it might be 3 hours on
Yeah.
that one school. And then when they quit biting, pull up, go find another school.
Yeah.
I mean, they are literally scattered all over the lake. The last 2 weeks I fished from 2 foot of water all the way to 60 foot of water and caught fish.
Mm-hmm.
So,
What's your rule of thumb when you're in a spot, you caught a few fish, then it's dead for how long? Before
I don't
you
give them very long. I give them about 15 minutes.
Yeah.
If I go 15 minutes without catching a fish, I'm pulling up and moving.
Yeah. Richard, Jeff, similar.
Oh yeah.
Same thing.
I
Yeah.
understand. You get a feel for it, just
Same
like
thing
anything
with
else.
crappie.
You
I'm about to
know,
say, I'm
you
gonna
know.
say with crappie.
Yeah.
You know when it's going south. You catch your active fish out of a spot, and the rest of them might not be active, or your bait moved.
Yeah.
Yesterday, I was playing cat and mouse with my bait, and when that bait would move down, I would have to follow the bait down and set back up and catch fish again.
Mm-hmm.
And then about 30 minutes later, my bait pulled back out. Bait's completely gone. Go
Yeah.
find them again and
Yeah.
set back up on them.
So for folks that may just go out and park up on a tree and sit for an hour and then not having caught one for
You're boating,
yeah.
not
Yeah.
fishing.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're boating.
You're
not
just
fishing.
enjoying a leisurely
And
day on the
it can
water.
be such a minute move.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll tell my people, I'm like, I'm tired of looking at this spot. Let's go look at something different.
Mhm.
You know, even if we are catching them sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll just turn the boat around.
Yeah.
You know,
I've been doing that a lot.
and just
Yeah.
really.
Right now, a lot of them fish, they don't know if they want to be up on the ledge or down in the deep right now. So
Mhm.
you might fish set up in a spot and catch them down deep for a little bit, and then all of a sudden them fish are gone. Throw some rods out behind you and catch them up on the ledge.
Mhm.
So it just as simple as a switch of the side of the boat sometimes.
When you do get into a school of catfish, are they like crappie sometimes where like if you do catch if you drop down in the tree and you catch the middle crappie versus the top ones and then you spook the crappie, I mean are the catfish, can they be like that too? Where you catch a few and they spook?
I
Or
don't think so.
Not usually.
Yeah.
If you get, like, in the summertime, shallow water fishing, if you get a big over on and he really thrashes and blows up and
Yeah.
goes crazy and everything else, it'll probably be a few minutes before you get another bite. But
okay. Well, that's a lot of interesting stuff on the old catfish. And we're just discussing, you know, we're gonna at some point here over the next year maybe hear something from the MDC on slot updates because they're got to start evaluating that process.
We've got like a 3-year study going on to reevaluate it starting next year.
Yep. So I guess over the next several years we'll bring you updates as we get them. So.
Sonny, I remember when
they started the evaluation process. They're still doing it. It's kind of like the COVID. They're wanting to wait until 2076 to release the COVID data. You see that on the vaccine? The vaccine companies don't want to give out their data on the actual efficacy of it until like 2076 or something stupid, just like that. Not to get political, but you just kind of reminded me. It's just that kind of government stupidity.
It's like CWD.
Yeah.
And Bigfoot.
I watched a good Bigfoot video today, actually, where there was a tree thrashing, and this drone caught it, and was like, "Oh my god!" It was on, of course, TikTok, and it was one of those freaking big machines that was in there harvesting the timber,
shaking walnuts, pecans,
something like that, or I mean, it was literally like the trees were going down, and so I'm pretty sure it was one of those big machines that just saws it up, cuts the branches off, and throws the log to get hauled off, type of deal. But of course, all these people were commenting like, "Oh my god, unexplainable! We got a Bigfoot." Anyway, side tangent. Back on track.
Let's talk about Christmas gifts.
Oh yeah. So it is that time, and there is still time before Christmas. We got a couple weeks, not quite a couple weeks. We got like 10 days. So, but there is still time. Jeff, you seem to have some ideas in mind. What are you kind of thinking?
Well, a perfect idea is a gift certificate for a fishing trip. Obviously, get somebody an excursion. One thing I want to remind folks of, if somebody gives you a gift certificate for a fishing trip, even though it's maybe not your preferred time to fish in December or January, go ahead and get your trip on the books. Because what happens is all of our books start to fill up and they're already getting full, and then somebody gets a gift and they call in July and say, "Hey, I got the gift certificate for Christmas," and we're halfway booked through the next year. So now you got to wait till the next year. So if you get that gift certificate for a fishing trip, and some of us, I know I do, and I know some of you guys do too, oftentimes we'll give that certificate with a date. We'll go ahead and just lock the date in, give it to your kid, your in-law, well, somebody you like, not your in-law, but give it to them people and say, "This is the date you're going fishing," and they'll just have to tell their boss it's going to work out. So, gift certificates are a really good idea when it comes to rods, reels, tackles, jigs. Cody's got a rod out now with Edgar. Kylie's got a rod with Edgar. I got a rod with Power Catfish. All these guys are pros that help out various companies. If you've got any questions on any product, I don't care what product it is in the fishing industry, you can send a message into the Truman Lake Fishing Intel, and we'll get that hashed out. I guarantee you. I don't care what it is, everything from a spoon to a treble hook. We'll get it all figured out. But rods, reels, tackle, gift certificates, good stuff. Man, it's unlimited. Knives. I'm a knife guy.
I love knives.
You can't have too many because you're going to lose one or leave it at the base of a tree. That's a really good Christmas gift.
I got last Christmas, I believe it was a Havalon. It was not an Outdoor Edge, but the replaceable blades is like the thing these days. And there's one, but this particular one had replaceable fillet knife blades. And if you're not going to have an electric knife, that's handy. It was freaking nice. I've used it quite a bit whenever I don't have the electric knife handy.
It's funny because I like knives so much, and I like a good sharp knife. I can't stand a dull knife. But I can cut myself with a tablespoon. So I have to wear my Gorilla Grip cut-proof gloves all the time to keep from losing digits.
Yeah, there's a lot of good ideas. You can never go wrong with gift cards. And just let the gift receiver decide what they're going to do.
And guide trips are usually for two people. So husbands, if you want to buy one for your wife, it's a win-win.
Yeah. And we do on the website have gift cards for Truman Lake Fishing Intel as well. You can buy a membership for someone if you'd like. I mean, it's a great idea, and kind of let them know, hey, we bought it, get it, and just give them the login information that you used, and boom, they're ready to use it for the next year. So that's another great idea. I actually wrote an article last winter, and I'll probably just reshare it, but it was something, it was like 21 best things for Christmas that fishermen in your life for Christmas. That is at TrumanLakeFishingIntel.com. If you go look at that, there's a ton of great ideas. So anyway,
I think like small business owners, that would be a good deal to go buy. Like, say you got 10, 12, 15 employees to go, if they're outdoors people, go buy them all a membership to Truman Lake Fishing Intel. Would be a kind of cool little gift from the boss.
Yeah.
Type
Well,
deal.
Anglersport Marine does that. Definitely a great. It's not only for a Christmas gift, but if you're looking for like some kind of little extra incentive for employees, you can buy. I sell bulk memberships to companies, and they might give a membership away to a salesperson that performed the best that week or something. So that's all good stuff, not just for the Christmas season. So
What about you, Hunter? What do you want for Christmas?
If I was to tell someone to buy, something for fishing, before Live Scope, it was, crappie rods. They weren't getting real expensive then. You're going to use more rods all the time. And now Live Scopes come out using one rod all the time. So I'd say buy the person you want that has a Live Scope. Buy them just one good rod, one good crappie rod. Now every company's coming out with one good Live Scope rod. That's what I'd buy them.
And there are a few more dollars.
They're a few more dollars.
But you only need one.
Yep. They might be a little longer, different things, but that's what I'd get.
Good call. How about you?
My favorite thing right now is my Mr. Buddy when I'm cleaning fish. My hands get so cold in that cleaning station. I think I mentioned it last year, but a Mr. Buddy heat, you can take it to your blind deer hunting, duck hunting, and cleaning fish. It don't matter.
Even down on a boat on the no-wind days,
Correct,
where it don't blow the pilot out.
Hands up.
Yeah.
Dylan?
Gloves.
I like gloves.
Good gloves.
Good gloves.
Yeah.
Something that ain't gonna soak any water up. What you
Yeah.
got fish.
That's exactly right.
Serious extremes.
Yeah.
That's the ones.
Yeah, he bought them last year. Those ones from Dick's Sporting Goods.
Yep.
I don't even know what they are now, but they're pretty good.
Serious extremes, I think.
And I bought a pair of Carhartt gloves this year that are like they're fleece lined.
Same kind of deal.
And they're basically the same kind of thing.
Yeah, those ones are neoprene, so they're waterproof.
Yeah.
And
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
pretty well windproof, and it keeps your hands cold, even like out in 20-degree weather like we was fishing in last winter all the time.
Yeah, those.
They were the way to go.
Yeah, those ones I bought last year.
That's kind of, we use those black Gorilla grips. They're the
That's my
neoprene
own
on the
today.
outside.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So I've never been to try those.
Nice. We'll get that. Steve, I'm gonna get a hold of you. We're gonna get these guys some gloves. What do you think, Cody?
I don't even know.
You've got to have a lot of good ideas in your shop.
You see people coming and going and buying.
Yeah.
Flay
I've
knives,
been looking at
you
those
know,
last year.
something. Jeff mentioned knives. That's something anybody that fishes or hunts, they can use knives. You know,
Yeah.
don't matter if they do it themselves, they're gonna need them at some point.
Mm-hmm.
So, like in the shop, I ran the Bubba blades. I ran them on sale a couple weeks ago. We still got a few left. We got the Ken Richardson hunting knives and skinning knives and flay knives. And, you know, them are really good Christmas presents. Just about anything outdoors, you know, if you got somebody that's hard to shop for that likes to fish and hunt, anything basically is they will use.
Anything
So,
practical.
Rods, reels, you know, if they crappie fish, reels.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What?
You know, people are constantly going through reels. That's something your rods usually don't have issues with, as long as they don't break them in a tree or something. But they're going to wear reels out.
Yeah.
So that's always a good idea.
Reels rank right at the top with waders to me. I think they're all junk. Every one of them.
They're all made to tear up, so you got to
They're
buy
all,
more.
every one of them. All the reels are junk. Every pair of waders, I don't care what brand it is junk.
I agree with that.
They're all junk.
You get about one season maybe.
They're made for you to have to buy more.
Throw them in the trash.
That's just what it is. What about you, Tyler?
You know, since electronics is such a big thing now, I don't know about everyone, but I offer like electronics training. And so, that'd be a good gift card to get for someone. You spend all this money on electronics.
Don't know how to use it.
Yeah, it'll really, it'll really help you beat the curve on
We hear
learning.
that in the shop daily.
Yeah.
Well, we put a live scope on our boat, but we can't figure out how to use it, and we catch less crappie now than what we caught before.
Yep, that's
Because we're too busy messing with it. It's better to go with one of these guys. Dylan's really good. All these guys are really good at it.
Exactly.
So get with one of them.
It'll be extremely beneficial to your fishermen.
Even though the settings that like we all use probably different settings, we at least get that base settings.
Yeah.
It is
Well,
kind of
and
funny.
see,
What you're looking at.
And
I
it's
see a
not.
lot of people-
I'm not just doing live scope stuff. Like I go through like all your side imaging and all that, and teach people what they're looking at, what they're reading, and then also go into live scope. So like I try to cover
The whole
all
base.
of your electronics.
Yeah.
So just try to help everyone out as best as I can.
I try to, when I do them electronics trainings on live scope especially, you see a lot of people trying to catch shad that are crappie.
Yep.
You want to look for bigger dots.
Yeah. It's so funny because, like he said, people are like, well, I put live scope on my boat and I'm not catching near the crappies I did before. And it's because you're spending so much time trying to catch that one.
Yeah.
Right.
Where before,
you're fishing for the wrong thing.
Yeah. before you'd already hit 10 trees.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I mean? But now I'm standing here for 15 minutes trying to catch that
Fishing
guy.
for something that is not a crappie.
Yeah. Yeah. It ends up being a little broke off
Where you
branch.
go with this?
Yep. Roll on.
Yeah. And a lot of times you can tell if that crappie's going to bite, if he's facing down or if they're facing up. Go get that one.
Yeah.
if you see one on a tree that's kind of like this, or one on like this, go for the one that's facing up and go catch him.
She's ready.
And then,
I like the ones that'll come about 3 feet.
yeah.
Yeah.
Where you just kind of.
Good margin of error.
Yeah.
We were doing that on that video.
Yeah.
We were staying so far off them fish, or even casting to them 30 feet off. You throw it, and I mean, if you even remotely come close to those fish, wow,
Yeah.
they would grab them.
There was a couple of those trees, like you had to be, as soon as you drop the bait in the water, just immediately just almost stop and let those, they'd come, you just wait, that one would be sitting there cocked up and he'd be ready to just,
He was standing there with the camera. I'm like, all right, here's one, get ready. And I started dropping it down. I'm like, are you ready? Are you ready? Yeah, I'm getting him. Are you ready? You ready? Ready? I already got him.
yeah.
That's how it was last couple weeks on the mid and lower Grand.
Yeah.
You just get a bait somewhere close.
Yeah.
And they were just coming.
We saw several fish yesterday, and there'd be some of them you could tell, and I could tell. I was like, I would just go on by, and that guy's like, there's a fish. And I'm like, yeah, but there's one sitting out here like this. Let's go get that one.
Yeah.
He's gonna bite
Yep.
like that.
There's times when it's good to slow down, and then
Yeah.
there's times where you got to know when to cut your losses.
Yeah. Well, some behind the scenes notes on the video that Jeff and I did. I think it's about 24 minutes long. We had about 8 hours of footage from that day that I had to put together and edit down to 24 minutes, which I'm sure there's some other video editors out there, but everyone's got their own process. But it took a while. But the funny part was when they were really bunched up and I was doing some video and then I was starting to get in on the fishing. You don't know this because I edited it to make it a nice video, but Jeff was pulling them out, just boom, 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 and I was like, I had to insert my fish catches in the so that it looked like a little more even, because it was that bad, where it was like 8-1, and I had to even it out. I was like, God, it's not looking good. So, if you go back and watch the end of it, you'll see the part of the video.
But you got onto it pretty quick,
Yeah.
because I was in the back of the boat one time doing whatever I was doing, and I was
Yeah.
like, you got a trolling motor? Yep. And he was up there catching up on his own. So.
It's not, I mean, once you get used to it, it's not that hard. But it just was kind of funny in the editing process of making a nice video for everybody. So, one thing I have on my Christmas list this year, so officially moved up to Clinton, Missouri, which is really cool. So excited to be here full time. But really lucky to have a shop at my house, and I have some pegboard on the Christmas list because I'm gonna It's gonna be like a miniature Cody's bait and tackle.
Yeah,
there,
it's
is what
tackle shop.
what I'm hoping. So I'm gonna get that rocking and rolling. One of the things that I always like to talk about that and it's all the rage these days. Everyone's got a YouTube channel. Everyone's got a GoPro and recording video, and we've got quite a bit of video equipment here at Truman Lake Fishing Intel. But there's a couple of tools out there that can help you capture video. The YOLOTech Aqua Stick just plugs in the nav light on the back or front of your boat. If you want something that will hold a GoPro, a Garmin Verb, any kind of action camera, it's going to capture everything on the boat. It might not be right up in your face, chest cam video, but it gets the whole thing of what's going on. So we use that quite a bit. If you watch the videos when we're out in the water, when it's with Kyler, Cody, Richard, Jeff, anybody, you will see some of those shots where you're like, how in the hell, that looks like that's off the boat. But yeah, because it kind of sits in the back out of that nav light pointing towards everything, and you'll see that shot in some of our videos, and that's what we're doing it with, is the Aqua Stick.
Those are like $120. $30.
Yeah. And you can get bundles that includes accessories
Yeah.
for anywhere from $120 to $150, $200. There's actually a product review video. If you go to the product reviews tab, we got a video up there that you guys can check it out and kind of see. But no, those are all good, and I've got a bazillion hunting things. I'm pretty hardcore into the deer hunting, and so I've got a list a mile long of little odds and ends that make my life easier for that. Yeah, we could go on and on talking about this kind of stuff. I did want to talk about, before we wrap up, Cody, you had a big project going on here the last 6 months, and it's essentially, it's ready for people to...
Yeah, we have the house ready right now for rent. We've got it rented out a little bit come January for some veterans groups and some stuff like that. It's an old 1920s rock house we restored. It'll sleep anywhere from 8 to 12 people right now, so...
Your clients get a discount if they stay there.
Yep, my clients are going to get a discount, which eventually this spring, I'm going to have 2 campers over there for rent too. They're right by Truman Dam. The 2 campers are actually going to overlook the dam and everything down below it, so they'll have a real awesome view of where they're going to be at.
If someone had a boat, are they able to kind of park that in there? How's that situated?
It would be a pretty good walk up the hill.
Oh, okay.
But it could be done.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't want to leave it on the water.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
unattended.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but eventually we'll have a dock down there and all that, but that's future days.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the house about wore me out this year.
Yeah. How do people, do they just call the shop to book that, or
Just call the bait shop. That phone number is 660-723-5115.
Perfect. Well, and as we discussed, there's a lot of good fishing down at that end. There's a lot of good public hunting down there.
There
If
is.
you're going to come in for some spring turkey hunting, that's not a bad place to have a base camp at.
Yep.
It's actually kind of cool that we have a couple of, Cody's been one of the Truman Lake Fishing Intel guys since the beginning. We've got a new advertiser as well on the website that's got a VRBO down by Long Shoal. VRBO is like an Airbnb that they just restored something too. So you've got a couple of Truman Lake Fishing Intel people that have some nice stuff that's not a hotel, that's private and really nicely done, that you got options for. So that's really, really cool, and we'll be talking about it in Cody's fishing reports. Whenever he has updates about it, you'll see. But anyway, that's pretty much, that's everything that I can really think of. I know we didn't really touch on white bass or hybrids, but it's because hybrid this time of year is not something that's really targeted.
People fishing for hybrids. A lot of people targeting white bass on the main lake right now, and especially on Lake of the Ozarks.
Yep.
So they're hitting them shallow pockets.
Yep. And the other thing we didn't really talk a lot about was largemouth. You guys may have noticed, again, Truman Lake, for whatever reason in the wintertime, is bass fishing can be good under the right conditions. But
These have to be like really good conditions.
Right.
I don't know why this wouldn't be like
I would
extreme
think,
bass fishing.
I would think that David Ryan and those guys would be talking about throwing a jerkbait right now.
I haven't even seen any bass boats on the lake.
Yeah.
All I've seen is crappie and 1 or 2 catfish
Yeah.
boats for the last 3-4 weeks now.
I seen a wrapped bass boat yesterday. All bass sponsors.
Crappie fishing.
Crappie fish.
So Skeeter.
Yeah.
Whoever in that Skeeter, he fishes every day, and he's a bass fisherman, but he's crappie fishing.
He's
Yeah.
crappie fishing right now, so I don't know if that's an indicator or not.
Well, Truman's just historically not been. Go to Lake of the Ozarks right now.
Yeah.
You're gonna hammer
We're
on some
catching
large.
them
Oh, them boys caught over 20 pounds today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the Ozarks.
They hammered
I
them.
follow some small
Yep.
local bass clubs, and they whacked them down
Yeah.
there.
It's a totally different animal, even though they are literally one drains into the other one. Now, Jerry McCutcheon and Steve Blake, talked to me about the stories in the wintertime, December, January, when it's cold, and all of a sudden you have 2 or 3 sunny days of 50-degree temperature outside temps. Yeah, you can go to town on them on jerkbait. But it just kind of hard to find that consistency for very long in the wintertime here in Missouri. So anyway, that's kind of why you're probably not going to see here over the next couple of months. You're not going to see a lot of hybrid, if any hybrid reports, and you're not really going to see much of any largemouth reports either. You're going to see crappie and catfish reports primarily for the next couple of months, and then once we get into February, March, you're going to see some of those other species start to creep back in.
I don't know a ton about it to put a lot out there, but I know this time of year, the end of November, 1st of December, they start stocking a bunch of those conservation ponds like around Sedalia and everything with the trout.
Yep.
And I know some guys that's been up there whacking on those things pretty good. So
Yep. James A. Reed up in Lee Summit is another great area that for those who are around Clinton and Warsaw, Sedalia is within an hour, Lee Summit's within an hour. Those are both great options to go catch on some trout. And they do stock a certain number of lunker fish.
Yeah, those big ones.
So you'll catch
I've seen
5.
somebody today caught a great big one
Yeah.
today at one of them lakes.
Yeah, you'll catch 5 to 10 pounders.
Yep.
It's a dang big rainbow.
Dang.
So,
That's cool.
yeah.
Can you get a boat in it?
Yeah.
You know how easy, how still those trout sit? How easy would it be to live scope them things in deeper water?
That would be hard on them.
Yeah. It's a awful lot of fun. That's for certain.
Throw a piece of corn at them.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. They'll certainly bite on that.
Trout fishermen freak out when you start telling them you're using 1 ounce sinkers. Gotta get my corn down.
Yeah.
Get your corn down there.
That's right. But with that, I think we're ready to wrap it on up with these guys. A lot of great insight as usual. We're gonna keep fishing reports coming. You may not see as many reports because, as we talked about earlier, the report is pretty much
Been the same.
gonna be the same for the next month or so, with a little bit of variation depending on the weather. So anyway, that's kind of you'll see that, and then of course once springtime comes around, we'll get back to doing 2 or 3 reports a day like we were. So with that, let's just kind of recap. Cody Van Atten, Cody's Bait and Tackle and Guide Service. Cody, what's the number to get a hold of you?
660-723-5115.
Yep, and just like all these guys, got to give them a call soon to get on the books.
Yeah.
Dylan Stocking, Get Outdoors Guide Service. Dylan, what's your phone number?
660-351-4904.
Nice. Richard Bowling, Richard Bowling's Guide Service.
660-351-5361.
And Endless Season Guide Service, Jeff Falkenberry. What's the way to get a hold of you on the books?
660-351-5420.
All right, and Hunter, how do they get a hold of you to go learn your new your duck secret spots where you're hammering on them?
Call him Dad. But ask for Hunter.
Call my secretary.
There you go. Kyler, what's the best way to get a hold of you for a trip?
573-789-3263.
There you have it, folks. Get out with these guys. These are the experts. You can find their information on the website as well. Their bios, all that good stuff. You can find it on the website. I want to say thank you one more time to Nini's Italian Steakhouse and Catering and Anglersport Marine. Be sure to check both of them out. And we will look forward to catching you guys on the next one.
Next year.
That's right. New Year 2022. We'll see you then.